3 to 4 nations to lead. We could probably have the rest of them fall in place. And just to give you a factor of the multiplier effect to bring critical funds up front in the process, $100 million in bonds at the World Bank borrowing rate creates about $2.5 billion in bonds that are supported, $100 million a year. So in a time of scarce resources for Congress, if they would appropriate on a long-term commitment to support international bonds, we could really leverage up to maybe a $100 billion program. It would really facilitate, in my focus, in the stem cell and genomics area, the research on a global scale and really advance science, with each country having an allocation, and then because the borrowing is so much cheaper than any country can do, from the surplus funds we raise, which are about 35 to 40% more than most countries can raise from the same amount of money, we can have an international pool where we can collaborate and compete through peer review. So I think that there are new funding mechanisms that can really leverage scarce resources, and potentially with Senator Hatch as the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, along with Ron Wyden, who's the Democratic minority senior member. If Scott Peters, with your help, can get it through the House, we might have some real innovative opportunities here, but he's going to need a lot of help.
It's funny, it's just, Pradeep was denigrating vacuous feel-good meetings. I prefer the vacuous feel-bad meetings, where I go. But, I think that the one thing we might want to point out, too, is what these folks can do. I'm on board, and I'll work, I come look at whatever cool technology you have, but you don't have to convince me anymore. One of the priorities I make for San Diego is just the increasing basic scientific research funding. But I remember when I was an environmental lawyer, we would put a toxicologist on the stand or a chemist on the stand. We had to get those people to communicate really complicated ideas to people who weren't educated, who were just, basically regular folks. Do you have any hints for these folks who understand things to the cellular and molecular level in a way that I never will? How they can talk to their neighbors or even their electeds about why this is important, what's happening, and what opportunities are involved.
Certainly. So,
by the way, the real estate background you have is coming in really handy with this leverage.
Right. We can. It's much more rewarding to sell bonds to cure disease than it is to build an apartment building. It is very important to realize that with Dean Brenner and Katrina Jameson and with Larry Goldstein, you have tremendous leaders here, and backed by civic leaders like Erwin Jacobs and Steve and Lisa Altman and others. You have tremendous leadership in the philanthropic community, in the scientific community. It is my friend and former vice chair, a member of the Roth family, really made a tremendous contribution for years from here, and Ted Roth is here. It's a community where you have all of the potential to bring the biotech sector with the science sector, with patient advocates together to be a major force. And the Denny Sanford's effort in funding the major effort in translational medicine creates a platform where you can bring patient advocates in together to work with the biotech firms and really educate them. A highly effective, disciplined patient advocate working with scientists, continuously confirming the scientific facts, can be an extraordinary force with the House and with the Senate. And just as a force multiplier, to give you an idea of what your outreach and connections to the patient advocate community can do, in the last 10 days of the before the election in 2004, where the voters had to approve $6 billion. It's $3 billion for the grant program for a decade and $3 billion to cover the interest over the next 40 years. There were 3 million affinity group email messages. Now realize that is in 2004 in the dark ages of the internet. Right? Can you imagine the force multiplier today